it's all kindness in my heart that I don't assault these people because the space is hot. Yeah, but at the same time, they kept on pushing and breaking limits illegally to then go off and be rude. Yeah, like my phone when they're invading my hotel and tracking me around the space here, and then go after a showcase to me what they're doing. I'm like, okay, you're Army of One. Yeah, I said just record everything and then log it as a diary itself and then publish it because the space is out. So by the time we want to meet at one point when somebody finally gets hurt, yeah, with the technology that I developed on that, I get to rub that all over their face to like next time not do a loop, yeah, where they were supposed to follow those rules and regulation, not do a loop into somebody that's minding his own business. So yeah, because by the time they did a loop into me, yeah, they released a new integrated system that go into a weapon that then go off and demolish the visual of a scope itself that goes off and pick up heat signatures, yeah, distort it across the space outside, and then eventually they hopped into a new field of physics and the system itself that goes off and create invisible systems that go off and demolish an entire security layout that just two-dimensional on the field itself with a camera system that cannot detect it on the space here, which then allow mass terrorism across the space because the terrorists can never get caught with the activity that they do across the space. So by the time they want to go off and blow up the FBI every single day without being detected, they could do it from that mountain range area. And not even the Air Force or nobody else with an advanced radar could go off and detect that fucking moment. That go off and like break all across the space at hypersonic speed. Not even hypersonic speed, though, low on a small scale, as big as a bomb will be across the space to go off and hit the FBI headquarters over and over again every single day, specifically on site. Like I said, when I did my work over here, that I was still doing my physics privately and quietly without going off to like publish it, initiate over the cyberspace. But somebody else broke inside my lab and my research intentionally, and I found out it was the government with the intent to go off and try to make the person kill himself. So the government intention, that's just an example of like, that's just an example right here. That, imagine I was like a guy over here just like studying uranium privately, and I have concern that uranium can be used for different applications. I don't want it to be used to go off and harm other human beings. So that I keep my privacy and my work private, and then eventually I want to share my work with other people that I feel have a sense of responsibility on my level. Yeah, to not go off and have a conflict of interest in my morality, with my ethics, and then all of a sudden I got a police group and a government group itself that goes off and contradict that, and all of a sudden my research makes it inside the hands of terrorists, and now the FBI field office get bombed every single day. So I said that's a complaint that's going to go back inside the government itself, and they could figure out with themselves as to like, how did they fuck the security system in the 21st century with an advanced dude over here. Yeah. That was just my own business. I did everything legally. So I said by the end of the day, that's for the rogue agent and the rogue people over here to figure it out. I said, why is it they gonna get their own people, their own kill? Yeah, to weapon system on the domain of warfare, because I got nothing to do with it. So I just get that example over here. That's not a threat in any way specifically, but that's the extent into like my concern. I already submitted so many FBI reports against their own, the police group or whichever group it is that's doing the stuff. Yeah, because again, they endanger people, and like I said, originally I ignored them because it was easy to deal with the drone by just closing your door and having your privacy. But because that thing over there is so egotistical, they decided to go off and move in with me as close as possible, and they tell me in my fucking face over there that he's watching me up close and personal, and then eventually he goes off and uses gas. That thing even bought special equipment and gas and poison around the space here to go off and try to make the person feel dizzy and collapse on the ground and go off and lose his consciousness. So then it could go off and like stream a shitty ass technology inside the person's head and continuously stick it on person like glue specific on side. So I said fuck it, just be myself over here and go off and develop my advanced technology and invisibility system, and go off and develop my advanced system over here that's way to like retrofitting unit, and go off and develop my advanced system over here that's like to advanced computer show model system or hardware that'll be outdoor specifically to be able to go off and recreate the 3D system over here with advanced identity. That goes into detail on the molecular system over here. So by the time you go off and scan the field, you're gonna go off and like see the molecular system or that tree over here interdimensionally in that 3D center. Yeah, however you want to rotate it into your system over here in real time without lagging behind too much. So I said by the end of the day, that's what I decided to do in my life, my free time as a project, as a business itself. I didn't expect that a random group of like stalkers inside the feds, both outside the feds and inside the feds, would then go off and share that with random terrorist group outside the United States, like the Islamic State or Al Qaeda, the groups inside that then have a conflict inside the US with many sleeping cells, that then go off and use that technology and system to their headquarters or kill Americans around the space. I said by the end of the day, congrats, Mr. Feds, you played yourself.